Okay, we are live. Yay! Okay. Happy Friday, everyone. I'm so, as you know, because you've been seeing us in all of our posts, we're so excited to be having this roundtable today with some of Orange County's best micro influencers. And just in case we're looking at our phones for a second, we're all going to share the Facebook Live. Like once it comes live, there it is for me on the phone. So, you know, you might just have to give it up for a second while we turn our volumes down.
Share our Facebook Live.
You know.
Share it.
And then we'll tell you what we're doing. Because there's already 5 eyes on it. It's us.
Hi, you guys.
Hi, me. Hi.
Happy Friday.
Well, when this comes up for me, it's taking a little second. Oh, I'm sharing it right now.
Me too.
I'm about to share. There we go.
Invite your friends if you want to.
Alright, let's see. Share to group, copy link. I don't know.
Share it publicly and.
Oh, jeez Louise.
All right.
Well, someone needs to share mine for me. I'm doing it wrong.
I hope I'm not
So-
posting it to someone else's account.
This share is saying, oh, there's my husband. He's on. Hi, husband.
All right.
Thanks for coming on. See, mine says share to, oh wait, write a post. That's what I want to
That's
do.
it.
Yeah, put a little something in there.
Watch us. Okay, I'm posted. I'm good.
Yes,
My volume
yes.
is turned down. I can't hear myself, but I can see comments. Okay, so now officially, later when we turn this into a podcast, I can cut that whole thing out. I'm super excited about that. Okay, so I'm going to give you some quick introductions, and we are going to move right into, like, you know, I'm going to let each of these ladies talk for a couple of minutes about who they are and what they do, and I've got lots of great questions. We're probably going to be on for about 45 minutes. I like to set the, you know, expectation of people who are like, how long is this going to be? Do I have the time?
Can I think of questions?
We
and chime
always
in?
go longer than I think, but 45 sounds like a long time for a Facebook Live, so we're going to try to go there. This is Penny.
Hi,
and I already
guys.
forget to say how. I forget already.
Yakos Garduno.
Yakos Garduno.
Some Greek
Okay,
and Latin in
Penny Yakos Garduno. She's Greek. So Pam and Chris, who was probably watching at some point, she, like you guys, I know the Greeks, they love each other. She writes on the go OC. So you see her all over Facebook. She's got 2 kids. All of us here have kids. We've been doing it for many, many years. And so that's her brand. Go check her out, on the go OC. This is Greer Wilder with Greer's OC. She's like the original influencer from Orange County. She's gonna tell, no, seriously, I have stories for you about that. I have known you since you started. Like, I was at an agency and we were like, we have to get on Greer's list. Like, it was crazy. That was 15 years ago.
2006.
So there you go, 15 about years ago,
Yeah.
or 12, I don't know.
12. But yeah.
So this is Greer. Check her out at Greer's OC. She's all over social media. She's amazing. And this is Karen Bailey. Karen is Rockin' Mama. I know website is like rockinmama.net, but is your Instagram is just at Karen Bailey.
It is. That's my
Okay.
Instagram.
But on Facebook, are you Rockin' Mama?
I am.
Okay, so Rockin' Mama on Facebook. Amazing. So that's who these ladies are. They're all micro influencers, which means, you know, we're all talking about stuff basically around Orange County. We have pretty large followings. We've been doing this a lot of years, and we love what we do. And so I want to get started by just kind of going around for each of you and give you a couple minutes, because I'm curious to know like how you got started doing this.
Yes.
So Penny, let's start with you.
Okay, so about 4 years ago, I was blogging a lot privately, so my family could kind of see what was going on with kind of a rough pregnancy, really rough pregnancy, but it was very private. So I was also sharing things to do, ideas, tips, kid-friendly places to go, because I was doing that with my older child to try to keep her mind off of the rough pregnancy. And so finally my friends and family were just like, you need to start sharing this stuff in one place. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that. But a lot of things that were on my blog needed to be kept private, so I also did that. Kind of made some of the posts that were very, very private about pregnancy and stuff, just private labeled on the blog, and then I went with suggestions from friends to start sharing things to do, tips and recaps of where we were going. So it really just started on sharing what I was already doing and being just in the moment outside with my kids and recapping what we were doing while we were there. After that, my son was diagnosed with autism, which I had a feeling around 18 months. So going from corporate world to stay-at-home mom was a big change for me. Huge. So we went through a little adjustment period on that too, and I felt like blogging and writing was a very good release and outlet, and then I was getting feedback that it was helping others. I would get questions about having neurotypical, and also look for people giving you their feedback. So I felt like connecting that way was amazing, so that I could also be helping others and getting feedback for myself, since that was new to me. That turned into basically just sharing our lifestyle, which is very public and in all over the place on the go OC. And what we do is still basically the same thing. We also do food and family-friendly activities, healthy lifestyle, outdoors, and we're very big into sports. So we recap those too, but for the majority, we are just basically sharing our daily life and then throwing in tips and little tidbits on what we think might help others enjoy and make the most of that moment too.
Good synopsis. I'm impressed.
Yeah, that's.
You've done this before. I
And
feel
I
like.
love live.
I love that you
love
just
live
like.
video.
I love that you just like know, right?
And
like, you
and
know
I love sharing.
your positioning. That's
Yes,
so good.
Yes, and I love sharing.
Okay, remind me again how old your children are.
So my daughter is 11 and my son is 6. So I left corporate world when he was about 2.5. And at that time, it was very different for me. I was not stay-at-home mom ever before at all. I was more in charge of 40 people on the inside, over 60, 80 on the outside, Canada, United States, and mostly people who were older than I was. And I'm a very kind of OCD, and everything has a place, which is good for blogging and writing too, because time management and organization and putting your children and family first has always been my priority.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Thank
That's
you.
so impressive.
I know. Okay, so Greer's going next, and I just want to say, like, I worked at an advertising agency, and I already see people watching who know me from those days. So thank you for tuning in. Hi, Karina. I hope you're still there. When I worked at Roxborough, I remember when Greer came onto the scene, and she had this whole, like, she actually started doing this email. It was just Greer's
Daily Dose.
the Daily
Yes.
Dose, which she still does. And it was like all of a thing to get on her email list, obviously, like to pay and be on it, but to talk our clients into doing it, that was just like, why would we do that? What's email? And why is this, like, she was so ahead of the game. And then you got into the social media, but I want to sort of hear that story of why you started that, like what inspired you. And
So what happened was I was originally, I've been around for so long, late 80s. I was at what was before the OC Metro. I don't.
yes.
the OC
I
Metro?
know.
It was called something
I
else,
know
and
it
I
well.
forgot the name, and I feel badly. But I basically wrote like a lifestyle column in that paper. And then my husband at the time, he moved to the Daily Pilot. He was the editor of that. He moved to the Daily Pilot. There was a woman who was basically writing kind of the same kind of column, and she kept asking for more and more money. And finally, my husband, I was like, I can do that, hire me. So that's I was a stay-home mom basically, but a columnist at the same time. I had 2 children then, and then now I have 4, all boys.
right.
And and then so I was
Yeah.
there.
Uh-huh.
I was there I was at the it turned into the LA Times Community News. I wrote for the Huntington Beach Independent,
Oh, yeah.
the Coastline Pilot, Daily Pilot, for a bit, the West Side Weekly up in Santa Monica.
Oh my gosh.
But this basically the same thing I'm doing now. I write about fashion, dining, trends, lifestyle, retail, events. And then a horrible thing happened. One of my 4 sons 12 years ago was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And it's like when that happens, your whole life changes because you have to figure out how to take care of your son or your daughter, and it's really life-changing. It's so difficult. And so I went to my editor at the LA Times. At that time, I was writing 2 columns a week. One was a restaurant. I was a restaurant critic. And it's fun being a restaurant critic, but it's a lot of work. You can't just
Yeah.
you just can't wing it. And I was going out a lot, and I was like, I can't do the restaurant thing. I need to stay home and figure out this disease and take care of my son. I told this to my editor, and he's like, well, this is a really bad time to tell you this, but we are making changes at the paper, and you are not part of the change. And I was like, whoa, like, I did not see that coming. Of course, I had like dark sunglasses on because I was so, my eyes are puffy from crying. And but I went home, and of course I was very upset and depressed because I was like, oh, like I loved what I was doing. I wasn't making a ton of money, but it wasn't about the money. Like I just enjoyed it. And so then I thought for a while, wait a second, I don't need that gosh darn newspaper. I could do what I was doing without the newspaper. And at that time, I was only limited to a few cities. If something was happening in Irvine, I couldn't write about it, or Orange, I couldn't write about it. So I called it Greer's OC because I like to think of it as like my Orange County, the things I love here. I will never write about anything bad in Orange County, or anything I don't like. Like I'm not that type of person. And Greer is such an unusual name. People knew me from Greer from my column.
Yeah.
And so I hired one of the best web designers at that time. I spent way too much money. You would like fall down if I told you how much I spent.
Oh my gosh.
But I built this because I knew I could attract people that were involved in charities, and I joined the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. If you paid attention a lot to my column, you'd see, or my daily dose, you would see I would write a lot about diabetes, a lot about juvenile diabetes, but not just that, because now I'm kind of known as the charity girl. Because we have so many important nonprofits here in Orange County.
We have
I
so
swear,
many.
I think there are 4,000. I think I could be wrong, but so I like to support them as much as I can, you know.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. I send out a daily dose every day, Monday through Friday. I try to highlight 5 different things a day, and I blast it out to my subscribers. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm not tired of it.
That's
I
awesome.
like it. And
That's
I still
awesome.
there's so many great things always happening.
And your core is still the email.
Yes,
Like,
it
that's
is.
your
It is.
core.
But I mean, everything leads back to the website, and then there's
Right.
more and more on the website. And then of course, social media came around, and now I'm, that's like half my day is social media, and
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I enjoy it. So
That's
it.
awesome.
Hope that wasn't too long.
That was amazing.
Yes,
I love to
that's
hear
great.
everybody's story because
Yeah.
it's, we get to know each other a little bit more every
Yes.
time we connect.
And
so I
I've
love it.
seen her column from before.
The
And
Daily
it's-
Pilot.
Yes.
Oh,
And
oh,
it's
I
nice
love
to-
it.
It's
Yep.
nice to
Yeah.
see and just
Mhm.
learn the history and what drives each person to still
But
do what they love to do.
I still love the Daily Pilot. I
Mhm.
and I still have done some work for them on the side. So I always love them. So even though that one editor let me go.
There's always that one.
No hard feelings. Oh my gosh. Okay, Karen. So it's your turn to tell us your story. Tell us how you got started in the whole influencing world.
Yeah, so, goodness, I started what my blog is now 11 years ago. I'm
Wow.
actually an RN. I was working as an RN, and I worked at Chalk in the NICU. And
Wow.
I ended up on bed rest with my son, my first son, almost kind of like Penny's story. And during that time, I had just moved back from the UK. I was working a travel assignment there, and I came back pregnant. So when I came back, my husband at the time went back to work, and I was just at home with basically the internet. It was me and the internet. Okay. So, I spent that time doing a lot of research on what I could do to have the healthiest pregnancy possible. So I was looking at nutrition and sort of the products that we were using in our home, personal care products, and that's sort of what led me to eventually start the website, because I've always been passionate about healthy living and toxic-free living, but I think having a child or having a pregnancy that was high risk really compelled me to sort of take the initiative to do anything that I could do to learn as much as possible and to just make any changes that I thought would be necessary. Mm-hmm. So I actually didn't start the website though until after my son was born. He was born in 2007, that summer, and during that time that I was home with him, I had been reading some blogs. I mean, there are people that I still read, the same bloggers like Colleen from Classy Mommy, and I was reading some of those blogs and I thought, well, that might be a really good way to sort of share our story and some of the things that that I did to change the lifestyle in our home and some of the things that we were doing. And so that's really how it started. I never started with the intention of it becoming a business, because at the time nobody was really monetizing. I mean, nobody, you know.
Right.
And I remember so I was sharing our story. I was sharing stories of my son at the time, and we were talking about all kinds of things about breastfeeding and baby wearing and all of those sort of like what you call like crunchy mama topics. And I had a gal contact me, and she had a online magazine called Peekaboo Pics, and she said, you know, I really like what you're writing about, sort of all of these natural topics, you know, clean living, and she said, why don't you write a column for me? Like, why don't you be our green columnist? And I thought, what do I know about this stuff? You know, I was just writing this. The blog wasn't even called Rockin' Mama at the time. It was called like Jason and Karen, which is my ex-husband's name. But you know, so I said, sure. I mean, why not, right? I was home with my son. I didn't really have much to do. I just moved to Orange County. I'm originally from LA. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. And what's interesting is the column was kind of everything I was writing on my blog at the time, but she threw in the branding component. So she would say, you know, every column that we put on there, we need to sort of have some kind of brand involved. And that was so foreign to me, like to sort of weave in this brand messaging and all that. And so she sent me emails with tips on pitching brands. I ended up learning how to pitch brands and what her philosophy was on working with brands. And you know, I think what I remember her saying was the article should really stand alone, and if you took the brand out, the article should still be able to stand on its own. I always take that away from me when I'm working with the brand, because I feel like the content should be something that's relevant and compelling and something that people want to read. And if you put the brand in, that's just sort of extra. You know, you can take the brand out and it still stands on its own. So after that, I wrote for CBS LA. I wrote for a division of the Orange County Register. It's called OC Family. I partnered with so many brands. I mean, big brands, Walmart, Best Buy. I mean, so many brands. But I love what I do. I never thought that this was something that I would do long term. I mean, if you would have asked me 11 years ago if I'd still be doing this, I would have been like, no, of course not.
Right.
I'm going back to nursing. You know, that's my career, and I love nursing, and I would you know, go back in a heartbeat. So it's not something that I didn't love, but I just never thought that this was something that you could do, or you could actually, you know, monetize.
So on that note, I wanted to know from each of you, is this all you do, or do you have other jobs? Like,
this
as
is
far
all
as
I do.
That's all you do?
And this is
how you make a living doing this.
I went full time in 2010. So
Okay.
when my daughter was born in 2009, so I did go back. I worked at Shop in the NICU. I struggled because my ex-husband at the time traveled a lot for work, and the nursing schedule and his travel schedule were such that it was pretty much impossible for me to sort of navigate the childcare and all of that. I would have to have a nanny, and and my daughter was just a few months old. So in 2010, I actually partnered with a brand for many, many years. That was the beginning of this really long relationship that we had, and I just took a step. I took a leap. It was sort of a leap of faith. It was scary. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Definitely.
I mean, to leave a nursing job and to
Right?
do this. I mean, I didn't go to school
That's
for
a left
this.
turn.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a complete left turn. It's funny because I tell people I'm a nurse. They're like, but you write, but wait, what? Like, they're confused,
Yeah.
you know.
Totally.
So it was definitely scary, but it was the best thing that I did for our family. To be honest with you, for me to be able to be home with my kids. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, who would have known that would have been such a wonderful thing for all of us. So
Yeah.
I
I
don't
love it.
regret a single moment of it. I love what I do, and yeah.
Yeah. And Greer.
So actually, no, a couple of years ago, I was like, I want to do something else, and I love social media, and I do a lot of social media for myself, and I I'm interested in it, and so I started offering it. So I do
Yeah, I've seen you.
I do social media for small businesses and a nonprofit, which I love. So I do that. I do that as like a side job, and then, but it's all kind of in the same,
Right.
what I do. Then a few years ago, my childhood friends, I was sitting down with them. They live in New York, and they were like, why don't you model anymore? And I was like, because I'm old and I hate modeling, but I used to model
Okay,
when I was young.
modeling, maybe.
Yeah, and and they were like, no, you should model because they need older models, and so I joined Brand Models.
Okay.
And so that's super fun. I hated it when I was a teenager. Now I love it because
Oh my gosh.
you're getting paid to smile. It is like
Yeah.
the best
Right?
job ever. So
I love it.
I
That's
go-
awesome.
I go to-
learn about that.
Yes, I go to LA for auditions. Like,
Oh my
it depends. It's
gosh.
very sporadic. Like,
Yeah,
because I have my own business, they'll call me like the day before and say, "Can you go up for American Airlines audition tomorrow?" And I'll be like, "Yeah." And it's not foreign to me because I did it when I was young, so I know how to do it. So
Right.
it's not.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
you're
my God.
busy. You
yeah.
are busy.
So yeah, but I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I like that too, Greer.
Yeah.
I like it too. I love it. I know.
I love that. Yes. And you look so happy saying that you're doing it and you're happy doing it.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes. Different time,
Yeah.
different place though.
Yeah,
That,
different-
and now,
yeah.
now it, yes.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to Greer. I come from a very corporate world. I worked for Perry Ellis International for a long time, traveled back and forth to Miami. But once a special needs child is in the picture, a lot of that goes out the window, and you just can't. And when their needs and understanding and educating yourself on what they may need or what you don't know, that takes a lot of time and it comes first. But similar to Greer, I started offering services to others. And on that note too, I have a big soft spot for nonprofit. Big part of our lives. Most of the kids in our family have gone through CHOC. My daughter endocrinology, my son. It's just a big part of Orange County too. So and again, other nonprofits too. Second Harvest Food Bank, Izzy's Corner. My daughter goes there often, even with Girl Scouts and with not. And I just think it's important to show your kids that too. So on that note, I like to do stuff specifically for nonprofits, whether they ask or not. And that's just a
Nice.
moral value thing for me, and that I want my children to do and understand. On the flip side, I have started offering, and for probably about 6-7 months, a little over, I've done social media for some other smaller companies, even local to Lake Forest and Mission Viejo, South County, and then a few that are in Anaheim and up for nonprofit type stuff. But I really like that too, because you're getting to know their business, you're getting to know their ins and outs and their target audience, which is different for everyone and
Oh,
so
yeah.
different from what ours are, and ours are all different.
Yeah.
So it's educating me too, and I like that. I always like to be involved in learning and making new friends and meeting new people, and then just introducing them to what I'm passionate about and what I like to support, which would be either the brands I'm working with, which I take seriously. I don't just take any brand at any time, and I feel like the ones that have those kind of morals and values in line as well pick and choose what not only benefits maybe what their interests are, but community or others as a whole. So I'm very big on that too. But it's good. It's a very big change from action sports world where it surf, skate, snow. It drills it down to a lot of, for me, it's family oriented. But I like that, and I was all about that before, so it's given me the opportunity that I really didn't think that I would have, because I loved being boss lady and I loved working, writing reports and telling you to run them just this way. But this has also given me the time and opportunity to kind of break my mold of structure and go a little bit more with the flow and try to be more patient, calm, and understanding. And that goes a lot with being outdoors, and then recapping that for people as well, because that's what they look for, just the reality of what they're going to expect when they go out, when they go here, when they go there, when they hang out with whatever it is. So all of that kind of fits into the mold of why it's important and why I pick and choose on what I monetize with and what I don't.
So speaking of that, when
Yes.
it comes to like working with brands, and you can decide who wants to answer this question or if you have different answers, but how do you choose which brands you want to work with? And really, like, do they come to you? I feel like for you, they're coming to you, and I don't know whether you ever seek them out, or do you seek them out, or is it a combination of both? Like, how do you find your brand partners?
They come to me, and I just decide then. And I've never joined one of those, like, I've never joined a group, like an influencer group.
Right.
I've been approached by like Charmin, like, will you do an ad with Charmin, post something, I'm like, it just didn't seem like,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I have not approached them, but maybe I will, it's something different.
And what about you?
I mean, for the most, I would say 90% of the time the brands approach me.
They approach you.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a time where I would do some travel on the site where I might be visiting, I don't know, Utah, and I might connect with the tourism board there.
Yeah.
But as far as,
Do you turn people down?
do I turn? Yes.
You do?
Yes. I mean, yeah, it's impossible. Again, I've been doing this for 11 years, so the number of emails I get every day, I mean, it's impossible to, I mean, I do get to even respond to every single one, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow,
because
okay.
It's just so, it just, when you've been doing this for so long, you're on so
Yeah.
many lists,
Yeah.
and, so no, I would say
You're selective.
I have to be selective, because I put a lot of time and effort into each of the brands that I work with. I think that's really important. Photography is a really big thing for me, so that takes time,
Yeah.
And I always people like that I have a unique sort of storytelling voice, and that
Right.
creativity takes time.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be easy to regurgitate a press release, but I know it's not what I do on the site, and so
Right.
I mean, I don't have all the hours in the day to
Yeah.
say yes to everything. So, but I think it's good to say no, because then it frees you up to say yes to things that really matter to you, or that are really a good fit for not just. I look at not only what's a good fit for our family, but what's also a good fit for my readers and for the site. So I look at both when I'm looking at partnering with a brand. I don't just look at, oh, that looks great, but what about, are my readers going to be interested? It's something that my readers are going to enjoy, because at the end of the day, I want the brand to get the ROI they're looking for too.
Right.
So it might seem like
Yeah.
a great fit for me, but is it a great fit for the site, and is it a great fit for the brand? So I
Right.
look at all of those things combined when I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to partner with a brand.
Right. And I know you do the same, but
Yeah.
do you ever seek brands out to work
Yes.
with, or do they all come?
Yes.
Okay, so
No.
tell me about that.
I'm 4 years in, so much newer and more, I guess, newer on the scene.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with reaching out. I actually like to, because if it's important to me, my kids, let's say, for example, are already eating it, wearing it, or doing it, then why not just reach out to the brand and say, hey, we're already doing this. Would you like to collaborate or partner up? Maybe there's something else that they have that you're not aware of that you would like to support, that they would like support in. So I'm okay with reaching out. I think it's important to show that you're open to receiving, and you're also open to asking. And it's not extreme things that maybe you're opening doors for, but it could be opening doors to something else. So it could be something simple as, my daughter uses your soccer ball anyways. Would you like to send her a new one? It's kind of beat up, and we'll tag you anyways. We do it anyways. If you'd like to say no, that's fine. But I'm gonna, and most of the time I'm rebuying the ball anyways. So, it's not like it's a do or die for me. It's just an added bonus. Now when they reach out, that's awesome. And that happens often too. Like Karen and I often am telling her, I'm behind, because you want to give that effort, exactly like they say. These girls are very honest with that. You want to give the most effort to your writing, as if you were speaking to somebody and giving them all the detail that you want to give them in whatever that is you're talking about. So that you want that to come through on your writing and in photos. I know for a fact Karen is huge on photos, because this girl will, precisely want to show the seeds in the strawberry, and I'm like, I love you for that, Karen, but we all have those unique different qualities that I think drive us to do what we do, that someone out there is looking to see, there's someone else like me, or I like that too, or I'm looking for a review on that book, that car seat, that whatever. And there's a time and a place. Both my kids, for example, are out of car seats. Why would I accept, paying me or not,
Car seat.
a car seat? I just
Look, there it is.
My
car.
6-year-old. I'm not going to take a whole rear seat.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, to me. So I think we all pretty much agree that, you just take what you would honestly, like to share with others that fits the mold of what your brand, your blog, your writing, your social outlet really is expressing to your readers and followers.
So let's talk about rates for a second, because this is something that, is a big question. My clients, I'm trying to sell influencer marketing all the time. I want them to be working with influencers. And there's like a couple of sides to this. One, I wish, and I'm starting to see more of this, that some of them, and I'm starting to get some of them to do it, would partner more long term with influencers and not just on one thing.
Relationship and growth.
You know, that's like kind of, you know, that's a question, like, do you have long-term brand partnerships that pay you ongoing? And then the other side of that is, I mean, do you have set rates, or is everything like a negotiation? So for me, I've learned, and I've tried to get my clients to just give me a budget for the year.
Yeah.
Like that's, I'm
So
like,
you can
can
break
you
down
just,
how-
like my most favorite clients, and they're out there, they have given me a budget for a year. And so I
Yes.
know I have this to play with over this time, and it's not set this month or that, and it's a line item to pay my bloggers. It's outside of my part of doing a press release or
Yes.
doing the, like, I have to arrange all of that. That's outside of it.
Yes.
So I have a specific line item for just blogger fees, because I don't know what it's going to be, and I have, you know, I'm trying to teach my clients to be open-minded about it and know that someone might charge $150 and this one might charge $1,500, and to understand that
Wait,
I'm
I'm
going
not
to
1,500 cheap, but not just.
But that would be true, because the
Yeah.
outreach and how much the return on investment
and
is,
what they're
that's
going to
accurate.
do, you know, for you, versus are they just going to share your press release, or are they going to
Yes,
come
what
out and
goes
do
into
live
that.
and do all these
Yes.
things? And so
You laugh, but that's really true. Like,
yeah,
like your
the
statement is
spectrum
true.
Well, I think
is
that's a
there.
good
So
point.
how do you
Yes.
decide?
Well, that's a good
I
point.
have
So
set
you just said, are they going to do a Facebook Live,
Right.
or are they going to share a press release?
Yeah.
Those rates
Completely
are different.
different.
You know,
I agree.
are we going to do custom photography, and is the brand going to be able? More and more, I'm getting brands that want not only custom photography, but they want to be able to use those photos. They want me to
Right.
Yes.
email
Release
those
them.
images,
Yes.
And you know
use
that's a
them
whole
on
other
those-
rate right there.
Unedited.
Right,
And you
exactly.
own those
Yes.
photos always.
Yes.
Exactly. So yeah, and what I like to do is, you know, I have a media kit. I think it's really important for influencers to have an up-to-date media kit. You know, go into Google Analytics, grab your stats. You know, I think brands like to see your stats as a whole. They want to see, you know, your unique views. They want to see your readership, your subscribers, but they also want to see Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and more and more we're talking about engagement versus just followers. So, you know, we're talking about micro influencers, and to have, you know, 1 million followers on Instagram for a brand to want to partner with you.
Right.
So, but I think having a media kit, and then I like to outline on my media kit, okay, for this is what it costs, and then just go straight from there. So brands can just take a quick look at it and be like, okay, I know I want this option.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually how I approach it. Is it negotiable? Sometimes a client will have specific asks, and then that are kind of not really covered in my media kit. So yeah, we talk about that.
Yeah.
It's pretty much.
And what about
I
you?
have set
You have set
prices.
rates.
Yeah, it's just easier.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just just have it all the same, and but yeah, if someone asks for a little bit more, then it just depends.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you?
Mine are more similar to Karen's, because now it's not just writing a post. A lot of like sponsored trips, let's say recap trips.
Trades.
It is. Well, they'll want video.
Oh yeah,
So
video's
it's, I mean,
huge.
video's
Oh,
huge
yeah.
right now,
It's huge
and I
right
do
now,
that
yeah.
anyways. So for me, it was
Yeah.
an added bonus for them to be like, "Great, we were going to ask for video. Thanks for sending." I do a recap, even if it's still shots, just great still shots, good lighting. Put them into a recap slideshow with some verbiage. It's huge because that's reusable, that's shareable, that's static, that just they can keep using. So I'm with Karen just on that perspective of I kind of review what's being asked, what they might want, what I think that maybe we should add to it, or that they may not need this or whatever it is. I take it case by case pretty much. But it's pretty standard on like if you just want to post, it's for me because this is my views, this is my reach, this is what I think that is appropriately worth, you know, and then we can negotiate a little from there. But I think it's important to just at least put your bottom out there as far as what your rate is and go from there, because things are changing, and maybe even a few years ago the live video wasn't, I mean, I didn't see anybody doing it. It was Periscope even.
Right.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
and just YouTube. But it's huge now,
It's
huge.
huge.
And because you can
Everything
save, cut,
live,
edit.
as you can see.
Yes, and because you can save, cut, edit.
Paulina's arm is like getting tired. I can see it. She's like,
The cost maybe possibly, because let's take Greer's outreach, because she has maybe quadruple of mine. Her live video, if I were to go on and I'll do live video for you, or let's do this. Charging a brand on her outreach would be different than charging a brand on my outreach, even though I do it all the time. It's reaching more on Greer's, and that's just a fact. you know, so
But at the same time, and for all of us, like our audiences are attached to us. I feel
Yes.
like we all have a
yes,
very
and they're
engaged
different.
community.
They're very different.
But you can tell, like, I can easily do the research before I'm presenting a blogger to one of my clients
yes,
and see whether people are engaging with them or not.
Yes.
You know,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
that makes a huge, you know, like difference in what
Yes.
you would charge.
yes,
Because
absolutely.
if you're able to actually convert and tell, and more people are believing you,
yes.
that has more value.
I much
right, than
prefer to get the
reach.
comments on
Sometimes.
my live posts of, thank you, where is this, or what is that, or that's, one of the first times I went live was at Disneyland, one of the Paint the Night parades, and I had a mom that was like, I think it was Wisconsin or Missouri or something. I will never forget the comments that she was like, I woke my kids up to see this parade. We would never get to see this. There's not going to be an opportunity for us to. That was the moment where I was like, and I think I was going live for Grand Legacy Hotel, which I covered Disneyland for a lot. And that was probably 3 years ago, a year and a half into my vlogging, but I just loved video and live right off the bat. From that moment on, I even told my contact there, I will never stop doing live. Like, for the purpose of giving somebody, showing somebody, I just put myself in their shoes. What if it was me at 10 o'clock at night? Or actually, East Coast time, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And she was waking her kids up to see my live video
I love
of
it.
the parade because they won't get to Disneyland. Like that,
So
I was in
cute.
tears doing that video because it like melted my heart. I was
Right.
like, I'm
This
doing
is my
live
reason.
forever. This is the reason why live is so amazing. But that's, and so I think it's a little different too than even 5, 6, 7 years ago, where a lot was written content, verbiage, and now when you kind of blend in snapshots, stories, even Instagram stories, people would much rather flip through your stories than see 20 posts on your feed,
Yeah.
recap it on
It's
your
all
feed,
about stories,
and
people.
show them your story. Yes, and because, you know, a lot of my stories, like, you'll hear me say, like, children get back here, or whatever. It's just real. Like, why am I going to be fake on my thing? You know, this is reality, people. So if I'm telling you we're having a really bad autism day, or my daughter is having a tough time understanding why autism doesn't come first, but sometimes we have to accommodate, I'm being honest, you know? So I think that portraying that, not just written, but through my voice and through my face, telling you, like, this is really real today, you know? I just think that that sometimes
Yeah.
is more appreciated, too, than just being able to read how my day may not have gone the way it was, or how it was amazing, or whatever the case may be. I like to share that as physical and personal as I can, too.
Well, readers have an opportunity to connect with you personally. They
Yes.
get to know who you are,
Yeah.
and they're like, you know, when Penny says that's a really awesome place to take your kids to soccer camp.
Yes.
You're gonna, you know, people who
Yeah.
are soccer parents
Yes.
are like, yeah, I believe that
Yes.
because
Mhm.
I see her daughter playing soccer. I see her, you know,
Right, yes.
doing.
I
all
feel
this
it's a
and-
little bit more personal
Well,
connection
no,
when you
it's
take it
really
that further, right?
important. Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
also
really.
in this like quick, like people want to consume information quickly because we're all overscheduled and
Yes,
busy
Karen,
and we don't
yes.
have a lot of time, so we want to flip through. We don't want to read, you know,
Yes.
1,000-word article, which I'm guilty of. They
But-
want to. They
but
want
that is
to.
good to
They want
write
to see
your-
a video quickly. They want to
Yeah,
flip through an Instagram story
faster and
So I think-
faster. We want to
Right.
consume.
Right.
Because the
Quicker.
audience is not the same all the time, too, and our readers are not the same. So some readers don't want to sit there and read. They are of the age where they're like, and the generation where they're like, okay, let me just click on your video, see your
Yeah.
recap, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Put your
Right.
tips in there, make sure you're, you know,
Yeah.
still writing your tips, not just photos on a slideshow. You're still recapping your post. It's
Right.
just in video form. And some prefer to have that written content where they can save it, go back to it, reference, because it's writing, you know, and it's, and that's, that generation likes that. I don't think there's a wrong or right. I just think that social media is moving towards a lot of live and that personal connection.
Well, I think
Yeah.
putting information in different forms.
Yes.
enables
All of the
you
above.
to reach a wider audience. You can reach the people who like to read and
Yeah.
the people who like to watch videos, and so the more avenues that you utilize
Yes.
and the more you distribute your content, then you have an opportunity to capture more.
I agree. And I don't know if you girls have found, but my audience from Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, completely different.
completely.
different.
Yeah, that was kind of my
Completely
next
different.
Right?
question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is what are you seeing as far as, and I'm curious to know if we're the same thing, as either the most engaged audience, or are they different among your channels, and is it changing? Like, what are you each seeing?
Yes.
I feel like
What's the most
I
popular?
feel like Instagram's blowing up. I have it for
Instagram.
two. I have it for my personal and for my business.
Uh-huh.
But I love Instagram. I think it's great. But wait, we have to also talk a second about podcasts. How you're making a podcast right
Oh
now.
my gosh,
'Cause
I know.
I love podcasts.
Me too.
Oh my gosh.
That's like a whole
They never
other
go away
right.
either.
Podcasts are
Yes.
blowing up right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I
So
mean,
that's
they're
cool
going
you're doing
crazy. So yeah, we're recording some sweet audio on this. Oh, it looks like we live video paused. Are we really paused, or is it just you?
Might be our internet connection,
No, I
just
think
me.
I'm good. Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still moving. But yeah, no, podcasting, we can definitely segue back to.
Yeah, yeah.
We can
'cause
wrap
that's
up
a
on
cool-
that.
That's very
Uh-huh.
cool.
So, would you say Instagram is your most engaged audience?
I love Instagram.
But you're on Facebook a
yes,
lot.
yes. So I think I get. I'm pretty good on all three: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Again, it's different audience. So the
Yeah.
audience that interacts
Yeah.
with me on Twitter are not the same people who are with me on Facebook, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I love that because
Yeah.
those people just maybe just like Twitter and they're tweeters, you know.
Yeah.
And the Instagram, they're on there looking for certain things because they're Instagrammers. So Facebook, I love Facebook and I love going live on Facebook
Uh-huh.
because it can reach my personal and my blog account.
And it grows.
And it grows, yes. Share and it's shareable, and then others can review later. It's easily saved, so that's why I like Facebook.
Yeah.
But I think that it's nice that audience is different on all platforms.
I think for me on iHeart Old Town Orange, Facebook has always been like my core, my bread and butter. But Instagram exploded super fast for me. So I did Facebook the last 8 or 9 years for iHeart. Instagram maybe the last 2 years.
Yes.
And it's growing much faster when you look at it that way than Facebook did. But Instagram stories for me on iHeart explode.
I love that.
I love
yeah.
They explode. Every time we do anything, it's just like, it goes crazy. So I'm just like, go look at my feed, or my intern is doing that for
Yes.
like more, like I know you're here. I know you're here on the story. But I also
Yes.
think it's totally different on Instagram audience. The
Yes.
people seeing the stories and seeing your feed are like, I'm sort of
Age
feeling
two,
that too.
maybe a little bit. Age two, I
Maybe.
find.
Like younger on
Absolutely.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook is more, and I don't mind aging myself. I'm
Yeah.
38 years old, so I think that I really feel like maybe my mom generation, like that 35 to 45, is really comfortable with Facebook. Really comfortable because that's what we jumped to after AOL people, So they're really comfortable with Facebook.
Yeah.
So I think that's a go-to for. But the younger generation, I mean, I would say, and ours, I would say 40 and down. So you're overlapping there a little bit. It's definitely just go-to on Instagram. It's a quick snapshot. They like, I notice a lot of my friends and just brands like to post just a quick snippet of what's going on and then fill your story with the details of, which I like because then you can see kind of what happened in someone's day, friend, brand, whatever it is, and then hop over to their stories if you want to see more, which I like seeing people,
Yeah.
so that, and then that gives you that comment feature
Yeah.
and interaction multiple ways on Instagram like that too.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be, it'd be nice if they would improve Instagram Live more.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
we could save
This is
it.
where I keep blacking
I feel
out.
like that's not a huge thing yet.
You can't
Instagram
tag
Live.
anyone on
Yeah.
Instagram Live. Like right now, we're on Instagram Live on mine, and I couldn't tag. But what I have found is sometimes if you put it in the comments, like I will tag or whatever.
The
in
tag
comments,
will work
but then
in
I'm
the
taking my
comments.
moment off of doing
Yeah.
what we're
Right,
doing
right,
to say,
right.
hold on 1 second, and let me tag it. So I don't even bother.
Yeah.
I just do it because I would like the feed there.
Uh-huh.
And since you can't go live everywhere, which I would love. My OCD just kind of kicks in and
Just go
I will-
live. I'm ready.
Can someone please create me an app where I can be live on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at the
Oh
same
my
time?
gosh,
Hey,
you know
I
that that's
think
coming.
You
It's
need to
coming.
do that.
I mean,
Facebook.
Who's gonna be my partner on that?
owns it all. They should. Twitter's gonna
It's
throw
gonna
the
come.
kink in that
Oh.
one. It's coming.
Twitter
It's
is hard. I don't find that Twitter is
So I just need 3 or
valuable.
4 people with me all the time.
Twitter is an interesting one. I know.
It is. I feel like it goes up and down.
It's
It
just,
go, I do too. I'm
Engagement
always
wise,
like,
too.
like if you're choosing, if your
Yeah.
budget is not going to allow everything, then
I agree with
I
that.
would cut the
Cut the
Twitter.
Twitter.
Exactly.
But I find
Twitter
Twitter
pushing
useful.
Twitter.
Yeah, I know.
Searching certain things, like honestly, I'm going to be really honest. Twitter is almost like a quick snippet, a comment back. Most of the time, I'm engaging with like theme parks on Twitter because I want to know what's going on during their day. Do you have long lines? Are your parking lots closed? You know what I mean? That's honestly what I'm
That's
seeing
true.
on there.
Quick information.
Quick information,
Yeah.
yes.
News,
Or
maybe
yep,
news, you
That's
know.
exactly where I was
Yes.
going with this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And so that's where like if
You
something's
always
happening
get the
in South
news
Orange
on
County,
Twitter.
Yes.
You just go straight there.
KTLA
I
5
just go-
will tell
yes.
you where the
You
chase
want the
is.
full
You know what I mean?
story.
So
It's
like,
easier to get it than on
how big the
Facebook.
earthquake was.
yes. So I feel like Twitter is
Exactly.
almost like
Yeah.
my go-to
Yeah.
for like in the moment of just
Breaking
news.
Yeah.
news.
Not
Absolutely.
necessarily my peers, friends, brand, but
No.
news of maybe what just someone wants to tell you.
It's
something.
I have a good friend named Wendy Sun. If you follow her on
Yes.
Twitter, like she owns Twitter and she does great. Like she'll have she'll do like this on Twitter, and she'll ask questions, and and that's the Twitter chats are so much fun with her.
They are fun.
and they're really great.
Yes.
She gets a lot
That's
of
gonna be
great
fun.
clients through Twitter.
So maybe that is how, like,
Yes.
more
Yeah.
Twitter chats maybe, and just, again, live.
And I
on-
love Twitter when you're at events, because when I go
Yes.
to a conference
Yes.
or something,
Yes.
following that feed, and you can't do everything, like
Yes.
that is a really easy way to stay connected at
Oh,
an
absolutely.
event, you know?
And
the
making sure
best.
just the hashtags are the same throughout.
Right.
That way, when
Yeah.
someone pulls one up, it's pulling all yours and everybody else who's helping promote that brand event, whatever we're trying to share with audience.
Yes.
So I think that's important too.
Absolutely. Okay, so what are you gals seeing as we're like approaching our, like we're 46 minutes in?
What?
See, I told
Wow,
you
you
it would go so fast.
Let's go fast.
We
What-
just talk a lot.
What
Fun.
trends, like, are you seeing anything new on the forefront that you're starting to use or play with?
That's a good one. That's a good question.
I mean, we're up to speed with like the stories and saving and creating just like an overall story for your stories on Instagram. Appropriate hashtagging is being used, you know, like
I feel like we've
it's-
got that down.
Yeah, it's pretty dialed right now. I really do feel like live and video recaps, pushing them to YouTube, even if you don't have a YouTube channel, a lot are looking for YouTube. Even if you don't have a lot of subscribers, it's something that they can go pull,
Yeah.
share, use, reuse.
Yeah.
So every time I create something for a brand or for myself or whatever, I always push it to Instagram. I always push it a snippet, you know, and then say in my stories, full video on YouTube or whatever
Yeah,
it is. But again, I feel like maybe live and video is where we're
Yeah.
kind of the hot spot
Uh-huh.
lately, and recaps.
I think this is our segue to podcasting because
Yes.
I feel
Yeah,
like
me too.
that's
Yeah.
And
that's
keeping
the
that
thing
somewhere. Yes.
that's exploding. And I
Yes.
don't know, have you guys been on a podcast yet, or have you?
Not
No.
yet,
At
but I
all?
listen
Yeah.
to them all the time.
Right.
I listen
Yeah.
all the time. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just
Yeah.
like
There's a couple
forget the
Disney ones
radio
I listen
unless the
to.
kids are in the car because they're like, "Do we have to listen to this?" And I'm like, "No," because then I
It's
can
for
even
long
hear what they're
commute.
saying. They're just like, "Nah, nah, nah, nah."
Like I'm getting none of it.
But yeah, I think podcasting is the next thing where, you know, I think influencers are going to go. I think sort of everyone's going in that direction right now. There's huge opportunity on podcasting right now. Like, it's the place, if you get in now, it will, you know, you have a better chances of that exploding for you now
Right.
than maybe if you tried that a couple years from now. It's going to be like old news, right? We'll be talking about
Right.
something else,
Something
but we'll still
new.
be
Right.
listening to podcasts because they're amazing.
I like
Um,
podcasts too because you can pick a topic and change a topic every time and have different people involved.
Yeah.
Um,
Like, I think you would have an awesome opportunity
Yes.
to
I
create a
would love
I think so
podcast.
too.
I would
You
love
do,
it.
like, your platform is very specific, but it affects a huge audience of people. And not just the people it affects, like, right, how it affects you personally,
Yes.
but that secondary layer of people, which just, like, makes that community so
just
huge.
like talking and sharing.
You are. No, and you're good.
And
Like,
I like
yes.
listening too, and I like just hearing what other people have to say and what their experience is and how they're growing and whatever their growth may be.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when someone legitimately just is not listening to you, and you're like, you asked me or I'm talking and I can tell you don't really care. I'm not that person. Like, I like listening to what you have to say and either learning from it or sharing. I am very opinionated, but that doesn't mean that I don't appreciate your opinion. And I think that also has to do with why I'm very comfortable going live and sharing. I'm not hurt by negative comments. I know that everybody has their own opinion and they're entitled to it. I also want to promote these type of things to my 11-year-old who it's huge for our children to be in social media and have all these things, but the right way, the appropriate way, and how to treat people on social media too. So I think that it's important to use that as a tool in our daily, in what we're doing, because we all have kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, and so I think that they do as they see.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that's another
important.
topic for, but like
yes,
the
that is
whole-
a topic in itself.
the emerging like kids and social media.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, my
Oh my
son is like,
gosh.
it's so funny. He just showed me a YouTube. He went to a birthday party and he showed me a YouTube video that him and his two friends created, and I was like, "You do this?"
Yes.
I couldn't
yes.
believe it. They edited it
They're
together.
so
and everything.
good.
I was like, "How did you
Yes.
learn this?"
Yeah.
And
They're
that is a
just-
good topic. I
They
like that
grew
topic.
up with
Mm-hmm.
technology and with
They
social
did.
media, and
Yeah.
I was really blown away by this video he showed me yesterday, and it was funny, like it was clever. It was almost like they had a script and they
Yes.
did this
Creative.
did editing,
They're so crafty.
And it was
And
like
the
a Nerf
tools
gun
that you
war.
have, the
And at
tools
the
that you
end,
have.
there was like boom, 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 like the
The sound effects.
this. Like
So
I
cute.
said,
But see,
"Gosh, who
with
did
the
this?"
tools that you have
I
on
know.
hand, on your phone, on your tab, on your iPad,
I
how do you
believe it.
not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I
so
know.
quick.
It's so easy.
Yes.
My kids do it all the time
Yes.
too. They're
Maybe
always
we
making
should talk
videos.
about that. You know what I
That's
mean?
a whole-
Kid
that's
friendly
definitely
a whole nother
like,
topic
because
because
that
of
is
social
a
media,
hot topic, though, a really
It's
hot
huge.
topic. Because I get
Yes.
asked a lot.
Mhm.
How do you know, that's very public. Like, how'd you come about that? Did you talk to your significant? Like, that's a really good topic to cover on
Oh my
just
gosh, right.
just being safe.
You could have
And-
a whole series on
Yes,
that.
yes, and just being safe with your kids too, because you do as I say and as I do, not the
Mhm.
opposite.
Not
Not do
right.
as I say, not as I do. You know.
I
So-
thought a great podcast would be, my son is going into 8th grade, and so when he was in 7th, and we have breakfast every Wednesday morning because I have a late start for school, and he's going through some, like
8th grade
depression, and he's had a rough time the last year or two. But I thought a great podcast would be like mom and middle schooler
Yes.
sitting down and talking about issues.
Zoe actually
in a
asked me,
basement where they
she's like,
think no one's listening.
Yes.
But they
No,
know they're
that's-
creating a
that's okay.
podcast.
That's okay, because
You know?
and others will be listening.
I thought that
They
would
might
be like,
feel that
I
way
think
too.
people would
That is
tune
good.
into
I
that,
think
you
so.
know?
Yes.
I would tune in.
Right?
Prepare
There's so
me,
many,
'cause
like-
I'm almost there.
So
I'm
tell
like,
me what
yes,
happened at
couple
school
years
today.
out,
Let's just
so-
talk about that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you seeing?
The other thing I was going to tell you though is I just received an email yesterday for brands looking for kid YouTubers.
Mhm.
Oh,
So that's maybe something
yes.
for another day, another
I
Facebook
want
Live.
that. I want to
but-
talk to you about that after this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'm interested
But
to know
we
what
just
that
were
was.
part of a
We just went to a
called
conference for
Gen
that. Our
Z,
kids were there.
Okay.
where it was a whole panel of
Yes.
these young YouTubers. So,
Oh,
but
I really
I
do think it's a
specifically
good-
got an email from a brand
We
looking
should.
to hire.
Interesting.
We
Wow.
should. That
Because
would
I
be
also
fun.
get
I
a
love
lot
it.
of feedback that's, well, is it safe? Is that safe for kids? Or are you posting in the moment when your kids are with you? Or a lot of
Right.
things like that.
Safety.
And so it's good just to talk honestly about that stuff and your mind frame and where it is and why I'm okay with my child having Instagram at 11 years old, because I monitor everything and I'm a hover mom like crazy.
On the go OC kid.
So
FYI.
and it's okay. And because, like Karen just said, we just attended a conference on that. Brands are looking for that. And you know what? If your child is so into skateboarding that they're passionate about it and they want to be a skater, why would you not be tagging the brand that your child is using? And because brands are looking for video
Yeah.
live recaps and younger influencers that fit their need and mold, that's where it's going to.
Yeah.
So
I'm a
it-
proponent of get on the bus.
Yes,
Things are changing.
yes.
It's
Watch
hard.
what
We
you're
have so
doing.
much to learn.
Be smart about
But
it.
we
Watch
can't
what's fine.
change the course,
Right.
direction of the bus.
And they're given all these
We
tools,
can't
like
do
Karen
it.
just said. Her
Yeah.
son was able to make a video in a few minutes
Yeah.
because
How
he
he
had
did
the
it.
access. Like, why would you tell him don't?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where technology and just social is going. Now, if you're an introvert, you don't like that. You're behind the scenes. You like to read everything. So great. You wouldn't be telling your kid to do something your kid wasn't naturally interested in, anyways.
Yeah.
You know.
But one question I have, and again,
Yeah.
another topic for another day, but it's just if the kids are being paid, what does that look like? Does it look like when they're acting? You know what I mean? Where they
Yeah.
have to have a certain account and all that.
Right.
So there's a lot of.
There's a lot to know.
I mean,
and
my kids are
learn.
not actually on social media. Just as a disclaimer, but they just do it for fun. And my son's YouTube account is private, so
Yeah.
and he knows it's private. It's
Yeah.
not something that he doesn't know. But yeah, it's just I've thought about that. I've thought about
Yeah.
if
no.
I were to go that direction and what that would look like. And there's a lot of questions I still have, which is why I haven't. They don't have Instagram accounts, and the one YouTube account is private for him. So,
Yeah.
but definitely a topic for
It is.
another
It's
day.
good.
Yes.
I'd love to
That's right.
hear.
That's
I'd love
right.
to have a podcast on that.
I
Someone who
know.
has paved the way.
Okay, wrap up question, because
Oh,
we're going into an hour here. This
Awesome.
would just be, and maybe you have something, I don't know, maybe you don't. But what's like the coolest thing you've ever got to do as, being in this field?
So many cool.
Oh, I know,
Right? But what's
right?
the best?
I am always super grateful for the opportunities. I literally pinch myself every time, telling myself I'm doing something that I love doing. I'm writing to try to just be connected with others and maybe help or get help on a topic or whatever. So it's amazing to do. So I'm super grateful for all the opportunities. But this year, probably after a lot of hard work and just being honest and writing recaps, honestly, I probably would say that even my kids would agree that our trip to Yosemite was something on their wow, that was amazing list. And it was.
Nice.
And not that you don't work hard to recap that, because to me it was super important to make sure I recapped autism friendly, food things you could do. But again, that was probably one of the things that was probably unforgettable for my children. And for me, because I just love watching them. I stalk my children. You know, what's wrong with that? Oh,
Nothing. Nothing.
But yes, I'm grateful for all opportunities, but some of them are just blow you away with, wow, this is great. Let's do this.
That's fun. I
And
like
it's
that.
exciting.
It's a good one.
I would say trips for me. I love traveling. Going to Mexico City was insane. I love
I've heard
Mexico
great
City.
things. Yeah.
But for me, being involved with JDRF, I chaired the gala, I think like 3 years ago. It wasn't to do with my job, but I feel like, you know, it's all
The
related.
opportunities.
So
that
yeah,
it's-
so being part of that was really wonderful.
Yes.
It's huge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you think of something?
Just one.
No. Did you pick one?
I'm having trouble picking one. I've worked with a lot of the studios. I actually wrote for Fandango too. I forgot
Oh
to
my
say
gosh,
that.
that's rad.
I know, I can't even remember because I've been doing it for so long. One year, I flew to Montreal to do a set visit for Sony and the Smurfs.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I flew with Disney to Canada, another part of Canada, to visit the headquarters of Club Penguin, the video
That's
game.
Yes, we
Awesome.
love
And those were
Penguin.
two of the
That's
coolest
cool.
things
Yes.
that I couldn't bring my kids to. So
Oh, you're so sad.
I know. So if they
Yes.
watch this later, they're gonna be like,
What?
Mom.
I know. I feel like when I go
We're
somewhere, my
very
children can smell it on me
fortunate.
if they
We've
don't
done
know.
a lot of cool
Mom, did you go to Disney? I'm like, no, see something?
Oh, I know.
Just at the movie.
I
Did I
know,
leave
my
a
kids
wrapper
will say
somewhere?
that. They'll say,
Where'd you go
they'll
today?
see me bring a bag home or a flyer. They're like, did you go to Disneyland? And I'm like,
No.
Don't
and I
watch
never
my
lied to them, so
social
then I
media
say,
channels
no,
that
it was all work. It was all work.
Just
There was no rides. There was, of
Gosh.
course, there were rides.
Okay, thank you all for coming.
Yes,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
it so much. I was so happy when you all returned my email
Oh,
and said
yes.
that you
Thank
would
you,
come.
Kelly.
I was like, yay!
Yeah,
So
it was fun.
exciting.
That was lots of fun.
So, yeah, thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Checking
Have a
out
great
now.
weekend.
Ryan's got to turn it off, and we're out. I think when it's flashing. If not, it's a wrong ending.